By the late 1990s, players and fans of each club openly doubted even their own club's ways of confirming manliness. The accusations of failed manliness became more convincing than their confirmations, and Passarella's attempt to claim whiteness did not work either. The magazine Solo Football was able to mock Passarella with a cover showing 11 identical blonde men with the title, "The National Team to Come." I believe the magazine's cover provoked widespread laughter because of a glaring contradiction. Most Argentine players and most soccer players in Argentina are not whitenable. Passarella was able to pick a few white-looking players, but even they were lower-class guys who did not sound white when they talked. And most of the players, like Ariel Ortega, were clearly cabecitas negras, black-haired men with indigenous ancestry. Giving Ortega an expensive haircut was not enough. The idea that short hair would allow Ortega and his teammates to pass for white in the Frankfurt airport was laughable, as well as the idea that their haircuts proved that none of them was gay. That was how things were when I wrote about Argentine soccer 10 years ago. Over the past decade, however, the Argentine soccer spectacle has changed dramatically. There is, of course, still lots of attention paid to the players, but a new figure has appeared on the scene, the botinera. Botinera is a Spanish neologism apparently coined in Argentina. Botinero is an old word derived from botín, which is the Spanish word for an all-leather boot, including the boots worn by soccer players. Botinero refers to a man who made, sold, or cared for boots. According to the dictionary of the Real Academia, there is no feminine form of that noun, presumably because the profession of botinero was exclusively male. Botinera does appear in the Spanish dictionary as an adjective referring to a dairy cow that has a light-colored hide except for near its feet, where the hide is dark. The new definition of botinera refers to a woman whose profession has to do not with botines, but with the soccer players who wear them. Specifically, a botinera is a woman who has sexual relations with soccer players. I assume there are parallels between botineras and wags. That's short for wives and girlfriends in English tabloids, but I don't know enough about the English tabloid world to know how strong the parallels are. The word botinera began to appear in Argentina in conversations and in blogs in early 2006. For December of 2006, a note with the title Botineras appeared in the Fads section of Noticias, a weekly Argentine magazine with a very large circulation. The article explains, the perfect candidate used to be a doctor. Today, girls prefer soccer players. Those emblems of universal masculinity who today are soccer players seduce the prettiest women. Most of the romances seem to last little longer than the shout for a goal, but they fill the pages of magazines and hours of TV. The article proceeds to give the example of Silvina Luna, who you see here, who after appearing on a TV reality show, dated at least 5 footballers, including Maradona and Real Madrid's Fernando Gago. Is anyone a soccer fan here? Do you recognize some of these names? Yeah. There is, of course, nothing new about famous footballers being seen with beautiful women. What is new in Argentina is that women now become major celebrities merely for having sex with famous footballers. As journalist Mauro Fulco observes of botineras, they don't sing, they don't dance, they don't act, and nevertheless they have more airtime than many stars. Thus, Silvina Luna, like all true botineras, is famous almost only for having sex with footballers. The epitomic botinera is Wanda Nera. Nera rose to fame at 18 years of age in early 2007 when she was photographed at a hotel with Diego Maradona. Prior to that photo, Nara was a minor vidette, which means she appeared scantily clad in a musical review, but she was not a singer or a dancer. She's just one of the ones who walk across the stage in skimpy clothing. For a few weeks, Nara stayed in the news by sharing intimate details of her night with Maradona, saying, for example, that he was a bull in bed. When Maradona moved on to another botinera and Nara's fame faded, she rekindled it by saying that she was in fact still a virgin, and that Maradona refused to take her virginity because it gave him hope that his own daughters might also be virgins. As stories from her ex-lovers multiplied, Nara dropped her virginity claims, but returned again to the news when a video of her performing fellatio appeared on the internet. A couple of months later, she announced her engagement to Maxi Lopez, then of FC Moscow, and in 2008, she and Lopez wed. Botineras have become so prominent in Argentina that there are now several magazines that are comprised mainly of their photos, and these magazines, including Hombre, Argentina's Maxim, and Paparazzi, have entirely replaced sports magazines on Argentine newsstands. Solo Football went out of business, and the venerable El Gráfico changed from a weekly to a monthly in 2002, and now appears to be available only online and by subscription, not at newsstands. The newsstands that throughout the 90s featured those sports magazines and their cover photos of soccer players are now filled with magazines whose covers and interiors are devoted to photos of botineras. Even football clubs contribute to the trend of diverting attention from their own players to botineras. When River Plate added a new sponsor to the sleeves of its shirt in November of 2008, it held a news conference in which journalists could take photos of 4 female models wearing the shirt. Traditionally, the male players modeled a new shirt, but now even the player's clothing is modeled by women. In a sense, the rise of botineras has allowed Passarella's dream of whiteness to be realized. Football skills are too scarce a commodity for a coach to leave darker Creole-looking players such as Carlos Tevez off the national team, but the skills to be a botinera are much more plentiful. As a result, the Argentine press has no problem filling its pages with photos of light-skinned, blonde-haired women who are presumed to have had sex with famous soccer players, such as Vanessa Carbone here, who is presumed to have had sex with Tevez on the left. That the hair may be dyed blonde is no more important than that the breasts may be augmented. Though botineras do not come from wealthy families, most do come from less poor families and are better educated than the players with whom they consort. I take a single typical week to give you an idea of how dominant pictures of botineras have become in Argentine newsstands. The August 2007 issue of Argentina's Maxim pictured Juan Donara on its cover, as did the August 22nd issue of Pronto. Meanwhile, the cover photo from the August 16th issue of Paparazzi included Silvina Scheffler, who was then linked sexually to Atletico de Madrid's Eber Banega. Next to those magazines in the kiosk was Hombre, with a cover photo of Luvi Fernandez bearing the title, "Another Great Goal for the Under-20 Team." Fernandez is currently the girlfriend of Real Madrid's Gago. By replacing men on magazine covers, botineras reduce anxiety that comes from putting male bodies on the line. Botineras are unambiguously female. Moreover, they serve to confirm the heterosexuality of the players with whom they are connected. Botineras also confirm the sexual potency of soccer players. This is because the sex acts that soccer players are believed to have with botineras are always non-procreative sex acts, which are imagined to be acts in which men unambiguously dominate women, as to both the sexual intercourse, which is not represented as an act of male domination in